Because to its core, that's the essence of the Capricorn full moon, is that success may be visible here, but it is cultivated here and it is maintained here. Hi, my name is Comet and welcome to Just Their Magic Monday, particularly your Magic Monday astrology forecast for the week of July 3rd to July 9th, 2023, where we are covering, just as we do every single week, what is happening in the cosmos above us and how you, my love, are going to synchronize and co-create with these celestial events, including but not limited to the full moon in Capricorn, Mercury square Chiron, Mercury sextile Uranus. We'll be breaking down this energy thematically as well as day by day so that you have a realistic look at what is coming to the surface within your universe and how you can align yourself to these cosmic energies in order to live your most magical life, hence the name Magic Monday. And this week, I want to let you know, and the cosmos want to let you know, that you are worthy of good things. You are worthy of success. And you may be saying, Haley Comet, well, I know I'm worthy. Do you? Do you truly feel within your bones that you are worthy of having what it is that you want? Because this week will make you review and revisit any story within you that can be sabotaging your success. The week starts off with the full moon in Capricorn, which does have this jubilant vibe. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Haley Comet, did you just say jubilant and Capricorn in the same sentence? Those are two words that we don't typically associate with one another, but this full moon in Capricorn does have this celebratory energy. The full moon trines Jupiter in Taurus. So there's this energy around feeling genuinely proud of ourselves, having blessings, and for some of us, accomplishments, milestones coming our way, and genuinely celebrating it, genuinely enjoying the fruits of our labor, genuinely enjoying how far we have come, the progress that we have made. But there's a story beneath the surface, because this full moon squares Chiron, and then this week Mercury squares Chiron. If you are not familiar with Chiron, Chiron is essentially where it is that we are wounded, where it is that we can feel to be inadequate, where it is that we are in need of healing. So this week there's this energy around reaching a new milestone, which can be something personal, it can be something professional, it can be something creative, but there's an energy around something good is happening and you're feeling a moment to celebrate it before this ugly voice kind of is coming to the surface that's telling you you're not worthy of this or you're going to mess this up. And it's a self-sabotaging mechanism. And this week, there's this unique celestial opportunity to really get to the root of where these stories are coming from, where within you feels that you are not worthy of success, so you sabotage it, where within you feels inadequate and feels like these outer things is going to fix what bubbles beneath. And that's why I'm so glad that you are here, because this week has this unique opportunity to really be able to get to the root of these stories, because that's what it is. They are stories, right? And we tend to think after this milestone, then I'll be happy, then I'll be healed. But I want to let you know you cannot achieve your way out of healing, okay? They need to be done together. We tend to think as soon as I have this, as soon as I do this, then I'll be healed. Then these old stories, these old wounds will no longer apply. I'm letting you know that success is actually an amplifier. It is not a healer. Like oftentimes when you climb to new heights, when you have more eyes on you, when you are entering a new era of your life, those initial wounds, if you've been allowing them to fester, they just get bigger and bigger and call out for attention. You cannot run from it. You cannot achieve your way out of it. You must feel it so that you do not sabotage the progress that you have made thus far, the success that you are destined for, the heights that you are meant to climb. And all of us self-sabotage in different ways. Some of us self-sabotage by not putting our art out there, right? Some of us self-sabotage by doubting ourselves, doubting our ideas when we get to that new promotion. Some of us self-sabotage by being so mean to ourselves when we get good things, feeling like I couldn't possibly be worthy of this. Could I be worthy of this healthy relationship? Could I be worthy of this exciting promotion? Could I be worthy of, my song going viral or what have you? You are. And this week is around acknowledging those stories, bringing them to the surface for the purpose of healing them. Because I'm telling you, when you have not dealt with those stories underneath, they run the show. Okay, they run the show. So this is a powerful week to really get to the root of these stories and choose a different way of processing. Love that part of yourself that is craving healing. That's what these stories are, is a part of ourselves that is craving some nurturing. You know, it's Cancer season, but see it for the story that it is and choose this week to empower yourself with a new way of envisioning the world and a new way of envisioning yourself. So we will be breaking it all down thematically as well as day by day. But firstly, I want to invite you inside to the Cosmic Cafe. So thank you all so much for everybody who commented and voted last week on the new name for the segment where we check in about which drink we are starting our week with. I love Cosmic Cafe. So this week in the Cosmic Cafe, we are sipping on an iced matcha with almond milk. So let me know what you are drinking. And you know, I've been drinking a lot more tea as Mars is transiting my 12th house, which if you're familiar with that transit, you know it's a time that you tend to feel very exhausted. So my typical response would be to just take this cue of being so tired and just drink more and more coffee and just drink more and more caffeine. But I'm trying to listen to what my body, mind, and spirit want right now and are craving right now, which I'm feeling is rest. So I've been trying to stick more so to teas and things of that nature. And on that note of Mars transit in the 12th house, I do want to just make a brief announcement that I am taking a little bit of a sabbatical. I'm taking some time off to accommodate all of this 12th house energy. And with that being said, my content calendar in the month of July may be a little unusual. And if you've navigated 12th house stuff, you know it's like notoriously murky and very much like a kaleidoscope. Like it's just shifting and changing every single day. My energy, my emotions, it's very hard to find clarity and pin down when I'll be showing up, how I'll be showing up. All I want to say right now is that there might be some Magic Mondays in July that I'm not able to get to. I am traveling. I'm going through this 12th house stuff. I'm telling you, my normal would just be prop myself up with caffeine and just like push myself to get it up, but I really just want, like, I value your all time too much to be putting out, you know, bad content or content that I'm not feeling super inspired to make. So in the month of July, I may just need some grace. I'm going to try my best to get all the Magic Mondays and my typical uploads up, but I really can't make any guarantees, and I'm really just going to choose this energy of gentleness. At this point in time, I'm planning on continuing Magic Monday and just taking a pause from my typical Friday uploads, but who knows? Who knows? If I upload, you'll be as surprised as I. I've committed in the month of July, I'm only going to upload if I feel genuinely inspired and like I really want to be in this space, because that is how I approach these videos. But I'm in such a weird place right now that I just don't want to overextend myself. But I want to let you know I'm totally fine. There's nothing wrong. It's just this life. It's a lot. It is a lot. When did we sign up to be humans? I don't personally remember signing up for this, but here we are. So outside of that quick announcement that the July content calendar is a question mark, I also just want to note that all timestamps are available below. I do utilize the time zone PDT, so please adjust to your time zone if you are located elsewhere in the world. I also want to let you know that you can get the free chapter to my book, The Care and Keeping of Your Birth Chart and Your Soul, by clicking below, going to selfcareastrology.com. There will be a pop-up. You can sign up there, or there's an alternate link that you can also find within the description in case the pop-up doesn't come up on your end. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Vibe Check of the Week. So if you are new here, hello, welcome to Vibe Check of the Week, which is a segment that we do here on Magic Monday to get you familiar with how this energy may come to the surface within your universe. So what we do is we essentially take all of the astrological events of this week's astrology and compare it to a real life scenario. So that even if the words Mercury, sextile Uranus, and Capricorn Full Moon, if that doesn't necessarily elicit a response within you, hopefully the Vibe Check of the Week, the corresponding scenario, does, so that you can really tune into how this could play out within your world. So this week's Vibe Check of the Week feels like the following scenario, and feel free to sub in whichever nuances make sense for your world. For the purpose of the Vibe Check, we are going to say that you are a singer-songwriter and you just make songs, it's just fun, and you post something on SoundCloud and don't really think anything of it. You have a couple songs there and you don't log in for like 3 months, and then randomly you log log back on and you see that one of the songs that you like haphazardly put up there randomly garnered like 500,000 views or 500,000 streams or listens or what have you. And you're like, what the heck? How did this happen? There's all these comments of people being like, wow, I'm so moved. This is so amazing. And then you see that this DJ who you admire actually did a remix of one of your songs, and it's driving all of this traffic to you. And there's this moment of happiness, right? Like that's the energy of the full moon trining Jupiter. It's this energy around, wow, oh my gosh, I made something that people are seeing value in. I'm proud of myself, right? This feels good. And then that moment of satisfaction, that moment of celebration, it only lasts for a while. Like it's cool, you're sharing it with your friends, you're like, oh my gosh, this DJ did a remix of it. This is so cool, this is so cool, this is so cool. But now is where that self-sabotaging comes from. Like again, there was this energy of ease. You weren't expecting anything. So when you got all of this, it was like, wow, this is great. But the thing about success or reaching any sort of milestone is that it does change things. It changes the goalposts, right? Like if you post the next song and it only gets 2,000 views, you're gonna feel upset because now you have this new, essentially, threshold that you are reaching for, right? And there's also this energy when it comes to your creative process. You could be feeling suffocated around, how do I make something like this? How do I capture the magic of this? There's this mounting pressure around, how am I going to eclipse this other song? How am I going to build off this success? And am I worthy of this? Am I even capable of being the singer-songwriter if I'm hitting such a creative block as it relates to it? So again, it's like this bittersweet energy around, I'm so proud of myself, but then all of these stories come up around, you're not good enough, or that was just a fluke and you won't be able to replicate that success, or how are you going to replicate that success? Or even if you create a song that you like, feeling lame about yourself because it didn't hit the initial response of that one song that you just threw up there. So again, there's something that you're proud of within your world. And if you're not proud of something, this Capricorn full moon is your invitation to find something to be genuinely proud of, right? Maybe it's not one of your songs going viral, but maybe it's like, wow, I've been 2 years sober. That is something to celebrate. Maybe it's like this energy around, wow, my partner and I have really built a solid connection and I really trust them. Maybe it's this energy around, wow, I have really maintained this boundary and thus transformed this relationship with my family member. Again, some of these milestones will be outer, some of the inner, but nonetheless, they are laudable all the same. And so with that celebration, that energy around, wow, I hit 500,000 streams. Wow, I built this relationship. Wow, I upheld this boundary. I moved into my dream partner, whatever it is. There's something where it's like, wow. But then there's this underlying energy around, how will I maintain it? Am I worthy of this? That's coming to the surface within this week's astrology, which can be a form of self-sabotaging if you allow those thoughts to take precedence. If you allow those thoughts underneath that are telling you you're not worthy of a healthy relationship, you should do something to test this person. Like if you listen to those stories and choose to act on it, if you allow those energies with the vibe check, if you allow that energy around, you'll never be able to replicate it. It was such a fluke. If you allow that to keep you from continually creating, if you allow the voice within you around, who do you think you are trying to be sober? Who do you think you are trying to uphold a boundary? You should just go back to how things were, right? If you allow that voice to take precedence, that's where that self-sabotaging behavior can come from. But that's why I'm so glad that you're here, because you do not need to go down that path, because there's this unique opportunity with this week's astrology around, certainly these stories, these wounds around where it is that we do not feel good enough are coming to the surface. But with Mercury then sextiling Uranus and trining Neptune, there's a unique opportunity to be able to disrupt these stories, to reshape them, right? To allow these triggers, these wounds to come to the surface, while also understanding this isn't me any longer. I need to build a new pathway for how it is that I process. So to wrap up the vibe check, there's this moment where you're like, what do I create? You're in a total writer's block. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to replicate that success. It's something so exciting, right? But with every new milestone, there's new pressure around needing to eclipse it, around needing to match it, around needing to keep this momentum going, right? And you do allow that to suffocate you temporarily. You almost feel this tendency to just want to delete your SoundCloud or never create music again because you're like, I don't know how I could ever live up to that song and create those results. but you don't allow those stories to rule. You decide, you just sit down at your laptop, you get all of that energy out of the way, and you create a new song that maybe not will get the same success as the first one, but you enjoy the process. You are proud of yourself. You're in love with the process of creating, and you're virtually creating a new way of talking to yourself. That's the energy of Mercury sextile Uranus, Mercury trine Neptune, is observing those old stories and just saying, hey, this is an old story and we're gonna choose something new. So rather than being like, you'll never be able to replicate the success of the first one, choosing a new story around, I'm a creative person and every single day is an opportunity to create something that I am proud of, and choosing that new way of processing. Because like I said in the beginning of this video, success is something, yes, external, it's about hard work and opportunity and all of these things, it's external, but a lot of times it's also mental. It's a mental game just as much as it is external, and that's been something so valuable that I've learned from a lot of people who are very successful, my mentors, entrepreneurs, things of that nature, is how much it is a half and half game. It's half out in the world doing the stuff, but it's also half how it is that you talk to yourself, how it is that you keep yourself going even when there are these pressures on you, how it is that you pep talk yourself when there are failures, right? Like, it is maintained here in the stories that you choose, and you are not ensnared and you are not limited to the stories of your past. The thing about Chiron stuff is that it goes deep. Okay, so with Mercury square Chiron, it's almost like this feeling of this success and this pressure, it can bring you back to times that you felt even like in your youth that you weren't able to live up to the expectations that were on you, right? It makes you think of that time at the science fair where you didn't participate because you felt so much pressure that you needed to be number one, or the time that you didn't try out for the team because you felt so much pressure. Like, it brings you back to this intrinsic wound around, I am not good enough, I am not good enough, I am not good enough. And there's an acknowledgement of that wound, pouring some love into that wound. But with Mercury trine Neptune, it's just saying, hey, this is not making my mind a hospitable and helpful place to be, right? This is the wounded part of me, and I'm not going to allow the wounded part of me to run the show. I can love that part of me, but I'm going to create a new environment within my mind. That's the energy of Mercury trine Neptune. So we'll be taking a deeper dive into this week's vibe check. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Monday, July 3rd. So on Monday, July 3rd, Monday is Moon Day, and we are in Cancer season, season of the moon, and we have the Capricorn full moon on Monday. So it is truly the mooniest Monday that ever Mondayed. And when it comes to this full moon, I want to let you know it exacts at 4:39 a.m. PDT. So early in the day, you could have felt these emotions building and crescendoing on Sunday or over the weekend. And I do want to let you know, I did do a Capricorn full moon all signs forecast if you want to tune into the particular messages and stories that are coming to the surface for your life and for your chart. But when it comes to this full moon, you have some homework, okay? You have some Magic Monday homework assignment, and that is to do something to celebrate yourself. And you might be saying, Haley, Comet, I didn't get a promotion. My song didn't go viral on SoundCloud or what have you. I guarantee there is something to celebrate within your universe. Conquering a bad habit, upholding a boundary, doing your home renovation, starting a new creative project, creating something that you like. There's something to celebrate. And I talk deeply about this in the All Signs forecast, but I want to just say those celebrations are what makes our ascent to the top sustainable. It's what keeps us going. The goalposts will continually move. As soon as you get 500,000 streams on SoundCloud, now you want 1 million. As soon as you get this promotion at work, you have your eyes on a brand new promotion. Once you move to this nicer apartment, now you're looking at the apartments in this other zip code that look a little bit nicer. Again, the goalposts continually move, and you need to take a moment to celebrate your wins as they occur, and that is the ask on Monday. And to have gratitude for yourself and indulge truly is the ask with the trine to Jupiter and Taurus, because, you know, Capricorn may be an ambitious energy, but it's an earth sign after all. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, okay? Enjoy the fruits of your labor. With the trine to Jupiter and Taurus, this would be a really lovely day to have a picnic at the park, to make a delicious meal, make a pie, make a cake. Maybe it's celebrating someone near and dear to your life. You know, your partner got a promotion. Find excuses to make little things a big deal, okay? Because like I said, when it comes to victory, when it comes to anything good that happens in our external reality, the joy that it creates is actually quite fleeting. Like again, there's that initial excitement around, wow, look at all these people listening to my song on SoundCloud. But it does subside, and all of a sudden there's this pressure on how am I going to uphold, how am I going to continue? So taking a moment around just really basking, like I want you to take that emotion and make it a big deal, stretch it. I took a positive psychology class and they were talking about how one of the best things that you can do for well-being is to amplify and exaggerate good things as they happen. And like we talked about a couple weeks back, to observe the people who want to meet you in that celebratory energy, who want to celebrate the good things in your life as they occur. So again, it could be something personal. You could just go to the park, lie underneath a tree. You could write a gratitude list, like thank yourself, celebrate yourself. You know all the obstacles that you have had to surmount. You know all of the challenges you have had to overcome. You know all the skills you've had to learn, all the sacrifices that you have had to make. You know your story. And while you might be affixing your gaze to the top of the mountain, being like, well, I'm not exactly where I want to be. My love, you're closer than where you were. Okay. Remember to look down and celebrate. Wow, I have come so far. Where are my journal girlies at? Any journal girlies? Like something that I do when I'm feeling really sad or like just really down on myself about whatever is I look at old journals and it helps me remember, like again, very nostalgic energy with all this Cancer in the cosmos. It helps me attune to how far I have come, right? It's like this new era of my life has a new set of problems, but at least I'm not dealing with those old problems, or at least I've been able to build something real in this arena of my life, or I've been able to heal from those particular patterns. Like you may not be exactly where it is that you were, but it's important every so often to revisit the past via photographs, via stats, via journals, what have you, to appreciate how far you have come and that you have taken yourself there. Celebrate yourself. Like do not wait on this world to give you your flowers for you to feel worthy. You need to understand that you are so worthy to celebrate these wins and successes as they occur. Okay, so I want you to take that into your own hands. And this full moon does oppose Mercury. So there is a message. It's a moon with a message. This message could bubble up in the recesses of your soul around and realization. Maybe there was something you wanted and you got it and you're realizing how fleeting that joy was and you're like, I don't know if I really want this. Or there can be a message of something that comes up at work or something that someone tells you that clarifies what it is that you are working towards. There can just be like an epiphany, a aha, an illumination that bubbles up within your own soul, something that you hear from a loved one. I just want you to be open to people who could serve as cosmic messengers for you today. Pay attention to who it is that you hear from and what it is that you hear, and particularly what it brings to the surface within you, okay, is really the ask here. Because with this full moon opposing Mercury, there can be some piece of insight around either the heights that we are wanting to climb as well as the steps that we have already climbed. Like there can be a message around hearing from someone from your past and be like, wow, I've come so far since our connection, right? Or revisiting diaries, as I said, and a message around, wow, I really have come far. I forgot that I was dealing with that crazy roommate stuff. Like that was a lot. Like I'm so happy I live by myself. Again, observing how the universe is trying to signal something to you, either around where it is that you're going or where it is that you've been, how far you have come from where it is that you've been. And when it comes to this full moon, this celebration that I'm speaking of, it could be public, it could be private, right? It could just be something that you do for yourself, throw yourself a party. Maybe you want to post about it. Maybe you want to put it out there. This full moon is a balance of what's public, what's out there, our reputation, that's the energy of Capricorn, as well as what's sacred, right? Our own inner world. And it's really this ask to really celebrate the success that we have created in both, right? Because one without the other is not actualization. Like again, you can have everything externally, but if internally you're still struggling with these same patterns and these same themes, like again, that success is going to feel hollow because you thought that outer success was going to fix the inner, and it just doesn't work like that. But similarly, there can be certain restlessness brewing within you around, I know I have talents and gifts that I want to share. I want to get them out into the world. Like there's something within me that's craving this actualization, that's craving me being able to ascend to the top of my ability as a singer-songwriter, as an entrepreneur, what have you. Like this full moon is a balance of both. So some of you are going to be feeling this call around, I need to I need to prioritize my inner landscape. My outer successes and ambitions have kind of gotten out of control. And some of you feeling this call around, I need to put myself out there more so. I need to allow my gifts and talents to be actualized, to work, to build something with it. We will all be feeling that in varying sides of the spectrum. I would actually love to hear what's been coming to the surface for you so far. I love reading your guys' comments. It makes me so happy just how these celestial energies are all coming to the surface. And I chose this vibe check around this idea of creativity because I don't particularly enjoy, it actually kind of bothers me that every time we talk about Capricorn, we always associate it with business, right? Like the easy vibe check this week would have been a promotion, right? Because this is like an energy around a culmination of something that we have built. So some of you may be getting promoted. Like I'm saying, if there's not like an actual milestone happening within your world, this is your opportunity to create your own milestone, okay? Create your own milestone. It's been a year since I broke this bad habit. I'm gonna celebrate myself. It's been 6 months since I've been dedicating myself to piano regularly. I'm gonna celebrate myself. Again, a lot of you will have an external milestone, or some of you might need to create your own milestone. They're valid nonetheless. But I bring this to the surface because Capricorn is about ascending to the peak of our ability. It's not always just work and business. It's simply about being able to leverage all of the resources of what it is that we have and arise to the peak of our ability. Being able to take this God-given, universe-given talent within us and being able to actualize it, to be able to put it out there. And while you should, because again, you have this talent for a reason, you have this ability for a reason, and it could truly benefit other people's lives, right? And while you should put it out there, it's just basically saying, even when you get the success, you get the applause, you get the streams, you get the promotion, it's not saying that there will be a guarantee of that happiness, of that joy that you are craving internally, okay? It is not a promise. That's why it's important that we need to select goals that have intrinsic success to us, a goal, an endeavor that we find value in, right? Like I love music, that's why I'm a singer-songwriter in the vibe check. I'm not a singer-songwriter. But I mean, I love music, that's why I'm a singer-songwriter. Or I really value raising good humans, and that's why I'm a mom. Like I want to arise to the peak of my own ability, right? I want to do the best that I can with the time that I have, with the talent that I have, with the body that I have. I want to be able to arise to the peak of my own potential. And this full moon is either shining a spotlight around how what it is that you've built externally has come at the expense of other parts within you that are in need of healing. I talk about this in the Capricorn Full Moon forecast, but some of you, it's like an illumination around, okay, we've been kind of a workaholic. We've been trying to work our way out of healing, and that's a divine calibration. But some of you are feeling this call around, I want to build something. I want to put something out there to the world. And while you should, I want you to know that it's not a promise that you will be miraculously healed as soon as that song hits 500,000 streams on Spotify, as soon as you move into that dream apartment. In fact, the new heights that we climb to can actually amplify those old stories, okay? You cannot outrun your healing, and that's important with this Chiron sort of week and this Chiron sort of full moon. Because with the milestone, like again, some people are getting a promotion, something is happening in your world, you're moving somewhere, there's an exciting culmination within your relationship, things are happening, and it's exciting. And with the trine to Jupiter, you're basking, you're enjoying, but there's this voice under the surface. How are you gonna maintain this? There's this voice under the surface. Are you really deserving of this? There's this voice under the surface around, let's see how long it goes until you mess this up, like you've messed up past opportunities. And so with this full moon squaring Chiron, it just feels like this energy around imposter syndrome. Could I be worthy of this milestone? Could I be worthy of having this healthy relationship? Could I be worthy of having this promotion? And to that, I want you to tell yourself, I am worthy. And that's why I want you to celebrate yourself. I want you to do something that signals to your body, mind, and soul, I am worthy. So you can tell that Chironian voice within you to pep down. So all I want to say, just as you navigate Monday, definitely take a time to celebrate. It could be big, it could be small, it could be lunch, it could be a picnic, what have you. I keep saying food because Jupiter's in Taurus, but just celebrate yourself in however way makes sense to you. It doesn't need to necessarily be external successes. It could be internal successes as well. Making an excuse to celebrate yourself. We have a finite amount of time on this earth. We need to make little things a big deal, okay? And also on Monday, so we have that full moon early in the day, so there can be big emotions, okay? There can be this energy around either feeling proud of what it is that you've built or sharpening your focus, what it is that you are wanting to build. So outside of the full moon energy, I also want to let you know that the Capricorn full moon does trine Uranus and Taurus that evening. So it'd be a great opportunity to do something new, celebrate yourself in new ways rather than coming straight home after work. Maybe you drive to the ocean, right? Maybe that's your celebration, is looking at the waves and just taking a moment to bask in this particular iteration. Because I want to let you know, this can feel like a Monday like every other, right? It is human nature to be eternally striving and challenging ourselves in new directions. And you can feel like as soon as I hit this milestone, but the milestones keep moving. And the ruler of this full moon is Saturn. Saturn is the planet of time. It can feel like a Monday like any other. It can feel like a day in which you are ascending and reaching and challenging yourself in new ways. But I want to let you know, time is finite. This era of your life is finite, and you need to bask in the particular iteration. Like, again, there are things that you have that you used to want, and we so rarely appreciate it because it becomes the new normal. Look at your world through fresh eyes, okay? Look at your world through fresh eyes. Wow, I did that. Wow, I moved into that apartment. Wow, I healed from that toxic relationship. You know what it took to get you here. Like, celebrate yourself. That's incredible. So I'll say on Monday, do something fun after work or celebratory or something new, something of the nature. Again, this is a lot of earthy energy, and earth is about sensuality, and Capricorn moon, you know, it's a little bougie. It's a little bougie. You might want to celebrate your win with a really nice dinner, right? A really nice bottle of wine, a really nice shopping spree, okay? I mean, mind the budget, but all I'm saying, if not now, when? We've got to celebrate these little things as they happen. We came here to be humans on planet Earth. We should eat the fruits of our labor before they rot. So on Tuesday, July 4th, this is Capricorn Full Moon Recovery Day. Even though the full moon exacted the day prior, early in the morning, PDT-wise, I want you to be gentle with any lingering feelings that may still be there, as well as your energy levels, being patient and gracious with those as well. Some people report around full moons feeling super energized and restless and having a hard time sleeping. Some people feel drained. They could not get out of bed if they tried. So I just want you to be gentle with wherever it is that you fall on the spectrum, because the sun is in Cancer. So the sun is answering to the moon. So when we're having these major lunar events, I just want you to be gracious with yourself in whatever it is that you need. Even though it's a Capricorn full moon and we can be feeling inspired to get to the top of the mountain, be gentle. If you need to rest, take a pause. And I'm laughing because you know, if you watch Magic Monday, that sometimes when I'm talking about a particular day's astrology, sometimes echoes and reverberations of those themes will make their way into my physical reality as I film that particular day's horoscope. So for example, it's been an hour since you last saw me. Sorry if the angle changed slightly. And I was just gonna power through, but I was so hungry. So I paused, made lunch, came back feeling refreshed. Like, again, we self-sabotage in many different ways. For some, maybe the way that you self-sabotage is overworking yourself, overextending yourself. And maybe for you this week, it's important to take a pause. Like, here in the US, this is a holiday. So for some of you, you might be fighting like, I do need this rest and I want to take this day to enjoy myself, but I really should be handling all of the tasks and being productive. I just want you to be gentle with yourself in whatever it is that you need right now. Sometimes allowing those moments to rest, to take a nap, for me to eat lunch, allows us to return to our journey with more zest, right? If we are not taking care of ourselves, we are more likely to burn out. And that's important to be mindful of on Tuesday, because the Capricorn moon does sextile Neptune, which I have some thoughts on, but after that, it conjoins Pluto. So there can be this tunnel vision energy around, I've got to muscle through it, right? Like, I was fighting that within myself. I'm like, just talk. just finish Magic Monday and then you can eat lunch, right? Like sometimes we can really narrow in, like you've got to do this and you got to push yourself. Obviously, it's a beautiful thing to have work ethic and to be ambitious, but sometimes when we grit through it and we hustle, we make something so much harder than it needs to be. Like I literally could not even find the words because I was so hungry. So I was like, let's take a pause. And then I'm coming back with some more gusto, some more enthusiasm. Like sometimes these pauses actually make us more productive. I probably would have been here trying to find the words for an additional hour, delaying my lunchtime even more so because I literally did not have the fuel to think. Like again, I think there is a call to tend to our physical body, I will say, again, via sensual pleasures, via your celebration yesterday, certainly, but also understanding that you are not a machine, okay? You need rest, both physical rest as well as mental rest. Like days off are super helpful for sustainably getting to the top. Because if you're overextending yourself, pushing, no days off, hustle, 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 grind, grind, grind. Again, you can make things harder on yourself because a burnt out mind does not see the world clearly. And it's tempting because you're like, but it's an entire day and I can get so much done with this particular day. Sometimes when we give to ourselves a genuine break, we view things differently. We see solutions where before we just saw problems. We have the space to moodle and to create new works of art, like to the vibe check when we're hustling around, gotta do a song, it's gotta be better, it's gotta be better. It's not really the fertile environment for us to be able to birth something that is truly creative, that we're truly proud of. So I want you to recode anybody else who has a tendency to overextend their body, push themselves, just got to get through, just got to get through. See if you can try easy and see if you can recode your rest as something that is productive and helpful. To liken it to, climbing up a mountain. Obviously with the Capricorn full moon, we have our eye on the prize, on the top, and there could be a tendency around, well, I've just got to no breaks, make it to the top. Not to be dramatic, but what if you get so exhausted that you just collapse, halfway up? Like those mini rests, those mini pause to recalibrate, to clear your mind, allow us to move forward more sustainably. So if anybody was considering on Tuesday just working and being productive the entire day, like I also just want you to listen to your body and what it is that it could need. Even though we have the moon Pluto, which can make you feel kind of intense, I want to spotlight that the Capricorn moon sextiles Neptune and Pisces. I want you to romanticize your life in this particular iteration of it, okay? You can see where it is that you're going, but what would prior you think of your life in this particular moment? Like I said, there are things you wanted that you currently have. Like 8-year-old you would think it's so cool that you get to work for that magazine, or like 8-year-old you would think it's so cool to live in this apartment. 8-year-old you would think it's so cool that you're able to work on music or work on your YouTube, what have you. Again, it becomes our new normal and we forget to find the magic in it. Find the magic of it. Wake up in your bed and be like, wow, I did this. I live in this apartment. I have this husband. I have this wife. I have these kids, whatever it is. Take a moment to see it through fresh eyes, okay? Because I guarantee if you were to transport your 8-year-old self, they would think you were so cool. They'd be like, wow, you live here by yourself? Wow, you have this cool creative career. But again, when we're grinding and hustling, our dream can feel to be a nightmare. And it's important to remind yourself that this was your dream. It's hard to get everything you want because it's never as romanticized or as glamorous as we thought it was. So we almost have to supplement it with our own magic, continually seeing it through those magical eyes and just remembering you used to want what you currently have. But once it's your new normal, it's like, I have to record these YouTube videos. I have to record, this SoundCloud song. I gotta take care of these kids. Like again, it obviously life happens, obstacles happen, but if possible on Tuesday, strive to see it through new eyes. Like you might be like, I just wish I was getting all of this acting work, but you have a couple of auditions and your 8-year-old self would think that is so cool that you get to spend your day going to auditions. So remember when you wanted what you currently have and find ways to see it through those fresh eyes. Because even though you wanted what it is that you currently have, obviously in reality, the magic gets siphoned a little bit, right? It's pretty hard to consistently post on SoundCloud your songs. It's pretty hard to go to your fancy magazine job. It's pretty hard to take care of your kids. But whatever you're reaching for right now is also coded in that shimmery magic. It's not gonna feel exactly as you projected, right? Even when you reach that milestone, that new career height, it's not going to feel like that, right? Because nothing feels like Neptune, right? Neptune is a projection, and it's good that we have this projection to keep us wanting, right? To keep us going after what it is that we want. But it's important to understand reality is reality, right? And you might be so bogged down into reality and the obstacles you're currently facing that you're not seeing it through those magical lenses. Magic is not something that just happens. It has to be cultivated. So on Tuesday, it's asking you to cultivate the magic within your world, even if you're just running errands with your partner, being like, wow, this is so amazing. I always wanted a relationship like this. Because again, when something becomes our new normal, this typical relationship, this typical job, it loses its luster. It loses its magic, but we need to supplement it. We need to see it through fresh eyes, see our partner through fresh eyes, see our ambition through fresh eyes, see our passion project through fresh eyes. So that would be my recommendation on Tuesday, if available, as well as resting. The moon is void from 9:45 until 10:30 a.m., at which point the moon enters Aquarius. So when the moon enters Aquarius, we can be feeling a little otherworldly. We can be feeling more inclined to want to connect to groups, or also just to be able to do our own thing, own our weird, so on and so forth. And there's no other moon aspects on Tuesday. I will say it's building to square Jupiter the next day, so there can be some good feelings. Again, you are worthy of good things. So let's say you're celebrating the holiday, be present for it, ground down, connect, really taste the food, enjoy your time off, soak up this present moment, soak up this particular iteration of your journey. Because I know it's like, I'm not exactly where I want to be, but again, because you're on your pursuit, enjoy this iteration. Just like there's things that you have now you used to want, there are things now that you will miss, okay? There are things now that you will miss. You will miss getting the opportunity to live alone. You will miss getting the opportunity to go on many open mic night sets, sharpening your skills and the innocence of that. You will miss just being, your SoundCloud singer-songwriter bag before contracts and everything make it so complicated. So again, be present for it, soak it up, and just know that you are worthy of good things. You are worthy of rest. You are worthy of success. Really important to really program in this week. So on Wednesday, July 5th, is when Mercury squares Chiron. And again, this energy was baked into the full moon, so you could have already been feeling these themes, but it does exact on Wednesday. And midweek, I just want you to be conscious around how it is that you talk to yourself, because we should love that wounded part of ourselves, right? Who feels inadequate, who still feels like the kid who nobody wanted to eat lunch with, or who still feels like the person who was creating their own world to tune out from what was happening at home, or what have you. Like, we need to love that part of ourselves. But we also need to understand that wounded part of ourselves does not need to be running the show. And as we reach new heights, as it relates to our ambitions, our milestones, whether it's personal, professional, relationship, our self-concept must transform as a result. And you can love these old stories that come up without getting attached to them. With this Mercury square Chiron, that's that energy of self-sabotaging. Oh my gosh, this great thing happened, but you almost like poison it with these feelings of self-doubt. How are we going to keep it going? How are we going to keep it going? There's no way you're going to be successful at this. You should just give up now. Why even try? You don't want to let down your SoundCloud followers, so why don't you just give up the whole thing? You can notice those stories without believing them. You could just see them as stories. Be like, oh, that's interesting. That's a wound of the part of me that feels that I'm not worthy for those sort of things. When that comes up, observe it, nurture it, but then understand it's not necessary for where it is that I'm going. I can love that wounded part of myself without feeling like it's right. Like, because again, when you can just tune in, like some people like to name the voice within them of whatever you want to call it, your inner critic, your inner hater, or whatever. Maybe it would be helpful for you to name it so that when you feel that tendency around, am I cut out for this? Can I do this? That's just Wanda in my head, talking crazy. Let me just love that part of myself that still feels inadequate, but understand I'm evolving past these old stories. They're not going to take precedence over this. Self-sabotage shows up in many different forms, and I want you to contemplate how it is that you self-sabotage success. Now, there's a couple different ways that we do this. One being is not putting ourselves out there. okay? With the Capricorn full moon, it's like, what is my legacy? What is it that I want to create? We are in Cancer season. Cancer is the crab. It's safe in its shell. So like for some of you, maybe this energy around, I've been in my comfort zone. Like I've got to get out there, and it's uncomfy to put yourself out there. It can trigger all sorts of feelings of shame. Again, when you put out that video or what have you, and it doesn't get a great reception, it almost just transports you right back to being 5 years old when no one wanted to sit with you at the lunch table. Like that's how deep Chiron stuff goes. It's external events that bring up an old story, right? And it almost like confirms to the wounded part of you, like, see, I'm right. Nobody likes you. You should just not even try with your art. But again, you can observe that story and understand that's not the case, right? That's the wounded part of me speaking out about this. It felt good to create this video. I'm going to continue on this momentum. So again, loving that part of yourself, choosing a new pathway. Some of you, the strategy for self-sabotaging is not putting yourself out there, staying in that comfort zone, right? For some of you, it's like every time something good comes in, you have this healthy relationship, there's almost this energy where you just want to destroy it. You just want to destroy it because there's a part of you that feels like we are not worthy of having this nice thing within our life. Let's be toxic. Let's be toxic and burn the whole thing down because that's what I'm used to. So when this thing implodes, it confirms that wounded part. See, you weren't worthy of love. See, told you. That's the tricky thing about our mind. The mind wants to be right. The mind wants to be right. The wounded part of ourselves gets a weird pleasure off being right in those sort of scenarios, which is why we do not need the wounded part of ourselves to be calling the shots. Again, you could observe the story that gets brought up without falling victim to those toxic tendencies, self-sabotaging tendencies, however that shows up. Other ways of self-sabotaging can be imposter syndrome, right? Not putting your ideas out there because you're like, who am I? Who am I to be sharing? Who are you not to be sharing, honestly? And some of us self-sabotage by procrastination. Some of us self-sabotage by overworking ourselves, overextending ourselves. I just want you to notice your strategy of self-sabotage whenever something good comes into your life. And when it comes to Chiron weeks, it goes deep, okay? It goes deep. And I would say navigating this week's astrology, you might be a little triggered. But again, you can be triggered without responding in the same ways that you always have. And it's so hard to break that loop. It's so challenging because, like I said, the mind likes to be right. Even if it's something so painful, to some level, the mind likes to be right around, oh, see, this person betrayed you. See, you're not worthy of love. See, told you. So not only does the mind like to be right, there's a comfort zone in behaving the ways that you typically do. Because I want you to know, toxic cycles, whether you're in one as it relates to your work, as it relates to your relationship, as it relates to family, what have you. If there is something within your current iteration that kind of brings you back to a past story deep within you, I want you to know, even though it's toxic, it's still familiar. It's still familiar, and it can feel incredibly unfamiliar and incredibly challenging to choose a new response, because even though it's a painful loop, it's familiar. Because Cancer is about the past. It's Mercury in Cancer squaring Chiron in Aries. Cancer is about the past. So again, it's like, it's even though it's painful and it's not bringing good things into our life, it's like, I'm used to this. I know the role to play. I know how to implode this good opportunity that came my way. This good opportunity, this healthy relationship, this great job, whatever milestone that we're celebrating, this might feel very unfamiliar, right? Maybe we're not used to something that is healthy and constructive. And it takes time, right? It takes time to make that your new normal. And so if you're really seeking to break a pattern, particularly around negative self-talk, okay, or just bad habits within yourself that show up within self-sabotaging behaviors, whether when things are going really great within a relationship, you just feel this tendency to want to say something messed up, or whether at work, when you get a promotion, you have this tendency to want to quit because you don't want to put yourself out there in that way. Like, I just want you to observe these stories and sit with the moment around where it is it's coming from. Now, this could come up also around someone saying something to you around Wednesdays when it exacts, but you could feel it beyond, certainly. Someone's saying something to you that brings to the surface a particular story. That's what's tricky about Chiron, is like the ice cream lady could be looking at you like, I just asked what flavor you wanted. Why are you crying? But you were triggered because it just reminded you of a certain experience when someone was yelling at you for not knowing what it was that you wanted. It brought you back to that version of yourself, that raw version of yourself, because Chiron's in Aries, Mercury's in Cancer. Again, these raw instinctual reactions aren't always good for us. So we need to kind of question these self-sabotaging behaviors or what within us is triggered. Because again, you can feel triggered, you could feel more sensitive, so it could be brought up in, external events, or does someone near and dear to you say something to you and you're just sensitive, you're like, ouch, they didn't mean it that way, but there was a bite because it got to a deeper part of you. Because that's when people's words hurt, is when it gets to a raw part of ourselves, a deeper part of ourselves, perhaps a part of ourselves that hasn't fully healed, right? Because I just want to share, a couple weeks back I opened up about being upset about a comment, which is so silly. And I just want to thank you all for the kind words that you all shared in response to that. I'm so grateful for this community and that I have a space where I can be a little bit of a baby sometimes. But again, I can read all sorts of comments. I mean, I read the craziest stuff sometimes. Like someone on TikTok said that my face looks like I stole it from somebody else and I'm wearing it as a mask. I'm like, huh? That just kind of sat with me because I was like, what did they mean? What on earth do they mean by that? That one just sat with me because I was like, huh? But anyways, I read so much crazy stuff about myself all of the time. That's just what happens if you put yourself out there in any regard. And most of the time I'm like, whatever. Oh, my face looks like I stole someone's their face, whatever. It doesn't bother me. But then there's certain things where it's like, ooh, because it's something that's not healed within me. You know, when you feel defensive, when someone goes for something, like again, if you feel confident and secure with yourself, you're typically not defensive. You typically don't jump back because you're like, whatever, you can think whatever it is that you want. I know who it is that I am. But if there's certain raw components of ourselves, we behave a little bit differently. We react a little bit differently. But what I want to say there is with Mercury square Chiron, there can be something you hear. Your boss gives you feedback on a proposal and just brings you back to being 9 years old and being, scolded by your parents for not doing great enough on the report. Like again, there's deeper stories within us, and I want you to be loving around what gets brought up, around what is triggered within you. Nurture that part of you, but also don't allow it to run the show. Okay, feel into it, because that can be valuable intel. It's like, ooh, okay, I'm still feeling that wound. Ooh, I'm still feeling sensitive around that. That's helpful. I don't need to go on the offense. That's important to be mindful of with these two cardinal signs. But that's a sign that me personally, I could need some work here, or there can be something that I'm craving healing here around, or I could be craving healing around this arena. Let me note that as data and love that part of myself. So again, some of you could be feeling this just in terms of yourself, like self-sabotaging, just like, you stupid idiot, you're gonna mess up this relationship, you're gonna mess up this opportunity, you're not gonna be able to keep it going. Just observe that loop for what it is and choose a new loop. The opportunity to choose a new loop comes a little later this week. Wednesday's assignment is really just observing the loop and just acknowledging this is the triggered part of myself. And let me note this part so I can send love to that version of myself. Because, with this energy of Cancer is the past, and Chiron and Aries is a very raw and vulnerable part of ourselves. If we can get to the root of it sometimes, or just acknowledge that it's a story. Again, when things operate in the shadows, they can have more power. When we illuminate something, obviously it hurts. Like hell to bring to the surface, oh, that's why I'm so scared about sabotaging this newfound success on SoundCloud, is because it goes back to these past experiences where I felt like I got good things and I sabotaged it because I don't feel worthy. It hurts to have that acknowledgement, like, oh, why would I do that? I'm being my own worst enemy. It hurts. It's an ouch. But when you illuminate that pattern, you see it as a pattern, and you just see it as a raw part of you that is just begging for love in the only way that it knows how. So some of you will feel this internally. Some of you, there can be something that comes up, a message that is relayed to you that hurts, an argument with a partner, or, the ice cream lady asking you which flavor. Like again, we're a little bit more triggered. And I just want to say that as you navigate this week, be gentle with people. You never know what it is that they are navigating. Just being gentle, because we really don't know what people are moving through. And it's so challenging to change when you are really rooted into your Chiron energy, okay? It's so hard because even though it's toxic and even though it's painful, it's familiar, and it's so hard to choose a new pathway. But again, it's like all of these successes, all of these accomplishments, we think it's gonna erase the healing, but it only amplifies that. And we hear it from celebrities all of the time, that the fame, they thought it was gonna fix it, right? Thought it was gonna take away all the problems. It just amplifies it because now it's on a grander scale. From the individuals that I work with who are parents, like a lot of times the process of raising children illuminates a lot of their inner child wounding, right? It amplifies it because now you're in this new role, this new stage of your life, and it highlights things about your childhood or your upbringing or your relationship to your parents. Again, just being conscious of where it is that you're like, well, as soon as that happens, then I'll love myself, then I'll feel worthy. The worthiness starts now and the healing starts now. It's not waiting for you at the top, right? It needs to be hand in hand on the pursuit. So just being gentle with language to yourself, to others. The moon is in Aquarius, so people may not be necessarily outward as it relates to what it is that they're moving through or the sensitivity. Like this is very much an energy where you could be hurting your own feelings, you know, overthinking, reading into things, being fine out in the world, and then coming home to cry. But all I would say on Wednesday is just being gentle with yourself, gentle with the stories that are coming up within your mind, gentle observing where it is that you're needing nurturing without being attached, understanding that wounded part of you is no longer who it is that you are. You're loving that part of you and taking it on the pursuit to the top, but understanding that wounded part of you will not be what will get you to the top of your potential, okay? It wants you to go back down because it's comfortable there. And so on Wednesday, I'm not saying we'll be sobbing the whole day. Like the day starts off with Aquarius moon squaring Jupiter, so it can be a little bit more exuberant, a little bit more lax, a little bit more kind of head in the clouds, a little not totally here. For a lot of you, you might be kind of getting back into work if you did have the holiday weekend or anything of that nature. There's an energy around just not really wanting to be there, feeling a little bit more lazy, being more inclined to want to connect or communicate. And what's interesting that evening is that the Aquarius moon does sextile Chiron. So again, there's helpful energy around being able to integrate these stories, around being able to understand that they're just that. They're just stories. They're not going to run the show. Okay, we're not going to allow the wounded part of ourselves to call the shots, to make us delete the SoundCloud account, to make us pick this fight with our relationship. Like we can observe that self-sabotaging behavior, whatever it is for you, escapism, procrastination, excess. We all have a different way of sabotaging ourselves, right? And so it's just about observing that when it comes up. And once you can illuminate the pattern, again, bringing light to the pattern, it loses a bit of its power because you see it as a pattern. And I just want to highlight, it's hard to change. It's hard to get out of these grooves around the ways that you have coped, because that's really what this wounded part of ourselves wants, is it wants to, yes, be right, but it wants protection, which is why it sabotages these good opportunities, because it's like, I don't know what it's like to be this leader. I don't know what it's like to be this manager. I don't know what it's like to be this SoundCloud, artist or what have you. So I almost just want to sabotage good things because I'm used to things that are more painful. And I just want to send love for anybody who is doing that work, because it's really hard. It's really hard. And with the Aquarius moon squaring Uranus and Taurus, this gives me the energy. Wednesday, I would just be mindful with communications. Again, we're all sensy. We're a little bit more knee-jerk. We're a little bit more impulsive. We're a little bit more frustrated. And the energy of the Aquarius moon squaring Uranus and Taurus and Mercury squaring Chiron that evening as well, it gives me this energy around something going down with your partner, and then it's just like fine, or like silent treatment, or like I don't care, because that's also can be a coping strategy, right? And that can be a go-to for Aquarius moon, is like I don't care, whatever. Meanwhile, part of you is like sobbing and in need of love and wants to talk about it, but it can be easier just to be like, whatever, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna separate myself from this. So again, just observe those tendencies as they come up, because that wounded part of ourselves, it just wants love. It just wants safety. It's trying to find that love and safety however it knows how, but it's not always healthy and it's not always constructive. For the relationship we want to build, for the career we want to build, these things should be uncomfortable sometimes. Choosing new responses, choosing new patterns, choosing new ways of relating, choosing new ways of putting ourselves out there. That's the purpose of growth. And what's gotten you to this point is not what's going to get you to the next point. So you can love these wounded parts of yourself that are in need of love, but also understand they don't need to be the captain of your ship. And so with Aquarius moon squaring Uranus, it can be just doing something restless, wanting to avoid your emotions, pushing someone away, just being conscious of that. Helpful ways would just be choosing new emotional responses. Like, oh, typically I would do the silent treatment or pick a fight with you because I'm upset and you said something that triggered a deeper wound within me, but I'm going to choose a new response and see how it is that feels. So on Thursday the 6th, I would not bet on this being the most productive day that ever existed. The Aquarius moon opposes Venus and opposes Mars, then going void at 6:42, where it stays void until 10:33 a.m., at which point it enters Pisces. So let's break down all of these pieces. So one being, when the day starts off with the moon opposing Mars, we can be feeling a little cranky, a little tense, a little annoyed, and a little low energy. It's very much giving the days when you're in bed and you're just like, I don't want to. It's giving temper tantrum. Like you just want to kick your feet and just be like, I don't want to. Don't make me go to work. Don't make me do laundry. Don't make me do the things. And you know, the vibe isn't going to necessarily improve when the moon enters Pisces. Now, it does technically end the void when the moon enters Pisces, and basically, when we say the moon is void, of course, it's essentially just not a super productive time. So I wouldn't, send the most important proposal of your life in between 6:42 a.m. to 10:33 a.m. PDT, of course. But it doesn't necessarily get productive when the moon enters Pisces, because with the moon in Pisces, we're a little bit more dreamy, we're a little bit more inspired, we're wanting to flow with life, and it's very interesting being a Pisces placement right now, as well as having Pisces transits right now, because we are not getting permission to dissolve into the fantasy. And why I say this is because after the moon enters Pisces, it conjoins Saturn that evening at 9:47. So again, it's like there's this very ethereal, dreamy vibe as we navigate the day, but in the evening time just feels like this energy around, did I send the proposals? Did I upload the SoundCloud song, or did I just create it? Saturn is there to rip us out of the reverie. The moon in Pisces is like, let's stream, let's create. And Saturn's like, not on my watch. Not on my watch. No, you're not allowed. So for some of us, we could just be feeling more emotional. Again, the morning is very much, I don't wanna, don't make me, and we can be pretty frustrated. Again, we had a chat last week on misdirected anger, something to be mindful of on Thursday. And then with the moon entering Saturn, there could be this energy around just kind of pouting, I don't wanna do my laundry. This job is so annoying. Again, we could just be feeling sensitive about everything. Now, what I would advise, a helpful way of this, because again, if we get too much into the daydream, this is not a day in which we could just sit there and fantasize about our workplace crush, right? With the energy of Saturn, Pisces, get back to work. Or even, karma catching up. We're looking through their old Facebook photos, and then you accidentally like something and you're like, oh my gosh, no. Saturn, can catch up. It's gonna rip us out of the reverie. The helpful way of leveraging these two energies together is to build something that you do fantasize about. Again, Saturn will sort of punish us. I don't mean that in a fear-mongering way, but Saturn will punish us when we escape into our dreamland. It will reward us when we take elements of our dreamland and incorporate it into reality. So rather than just, I'm not saying this is a great idea, it's not co-signed by Magic Monday, but rather than just fantasizing about the workplace crush, it's with the energy of the Pisces moon meeting up with Saturn, it's okay, I always fantasize about this person. What would it be like to build a connection with this person? Maybe I should ask them for help on this particular work project. Or maybe you dream of this new song with the energy of Saturn. It's how can we put in the work to rip that song from our dreams, from our imagination, and make it happen within reality? And again, because Mercury square Chiron happened the night before, you have to get over all these stop mechanisms that are in your brain, which again, are not gonna lead you to success. That voice within you around, nobody wants to hear your song. Nobody wants to hear this song. That was a fluke that it got 500,000. Or maybe it's your workplace crush isn't gonna like you. They don't like you. Why would they like you? You're not lovable. Again, it's when we have to muscle through those stories and be like, not today. I'm not going to listen to this wounded part of myself. This is not the script that is going to get me to this milestone. So it's working through it. But all in all, just in regards to your daily life, with the moon in Pisces, just being mindful of escapism, okay, with the energy of Saturn, take what it is that you dream of and build towards it within reality. Vibe-wise, emotion-wise, you could be feeling more drained, more apathetic, more sad. Moon in Pisces, meeting up with Saturn, it's just like sad girl hours. And so sorry, I keep saying girly and girl, it's just how I talk. I'm so sorry. I don't mean for my language to seem like I'm just talking to one particular population. It's just how I talk, but I am being cognizant of it. But anyways, it's sad fish hours. When the moon's in Pisces meeting up with Saturn. And again, it's not necessarily something happening that's making you sad. It could be those stories. It could be thinking of the past. Cancer, Sun, Moon in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, thinking about the past, romanticizing the past, or just being sad that you have to do stuff. Why do I have to go to work? I don't want to go to work. Why do I have to do laundry? We're taking it all a little personally. Now let's get into the good stuff of Thursday. So the good stuff is that there is this opportunity to choose a new way of processing because Mercury does sextile Uranus. Sextile is an opportunity aspect, so it's not like a lightning bolt that hits us out of the sky, right? Like conjunctions, squares, we typically feel that a little bit more intensely. Sextile is more so like a cloud. It's just like gentle. You can look up and see the cloud, or you can just carry on with your life. It doesn't necessarily impact your life in this grand way, but it's there if you wanted to cloud gaze. And so the opportunity of Mercury sextile Uranus is to choose new ways of talking to yourself, or even new ways of reframing the past. Like again, maybe Mercury square Chiron brought to the surface that experience around being at the lunchroom and nobody wanted to sit with you. But with Mercury sextile Uranus, it's being able to revisit that experience that yes, was super painful, but reframe it in a sense around, wow, I really learned resilience. I really learned to be a lone wolf. And that's why I'm so creative and I create the art that I do, because I know what it feels like to be on the outs. Like that's the gift of Chiron energy, is that Chiron is where it is that we've been personally wounded, but how that particular wound has made us earn empathy because we get it, because we've been there, because we had to build ourselves up from that. So with Mercury sextile Uranus, whether it's reframing experience from the past, I also want to bring to the surface just new ideas coming in, new ideas that you want to anchor into your future. There's just this energy of newness, being able to view ourselves in a new way, because that's the essence of this idea of self-concept. Right? Is that when we reach these new milestones, we have to see ourselves as somebody who is worthy of this. We have to be able to view ourselves as that. If we just see ourselves as a fluke, right? Like that self-sabotaging around, this doesn't happen for you, you're not talented. Like again, that's going to run the show. And with Mercury sextile Uranus, it's like forcing, or at least just recoding around, I am a musician. 500,000 people liked my song. This DJ remixed my song. I am a talented musician. I create like I breathe. You might not feel it right away, but it's again, if you got a new promotion, if you're in this healthy relationship, it's just observing when that wounded part is like, you don't deserve this, and just choosing a new pathway around, I am somebody who is worthy of this. I am this leader. I am this manager. I am somebody who no longer drinks. Whatever milestone you are celebrating with Mercury sextile Uranus, it's also reminding us the work is also here. It's not just your efforts. It's also how it is that you talk to yourself, how it is that you process the world around you. Because we see this with people who win the lottery or people who are overnight successes. It's like easy up, easy down, because you haven't built your way up to see yourself as that, right? And we tend to go back to what our normal place is, right? Which is why a lot of lottery winners spend all their money, or a lot of people who are overnight successes, it's a flash in a pan, because there's not that work ethic or that energy of being able to sustain that success. And mentally, you haven't worked your way up to that level. My mentor always tells me this, that you can't take a plane up to Mount Everest. You have not earned your way to the top, because as you climb a mountain, your lungs, I guess, adjust to the oxygen levels as it goes, more and more elevation, and it makes it so you're able to sustain that to the top. Again, when you just get transported to the top, you haven't earned your way up there. Your body has not taken time to acclimate. So I just want to say, I just feel like it's important to tell one person, sometimes delays or things taking a long time is actually a blessing in disguise, because it's giving you the opportunity to slowly and steadily work your way up towards seeing yourself as that. So it's not like, you know, overnight success or whatever, and all of a sudden all of the stuff that you haven't healed is totally out for the public, or you haven't gotten the space to be able to really chisel your craft. Now you're in a niche that you don't want to be. Again, you could be building mastery, building your craft, and that could be helpful in the delays you've been experiencing. Sometimes it's easier for that wounded part of us to take control and rip us back to our normal, right? If we want to climb up to the top, we need to be able to cheerlead ourselves on that pursuit and build new pathways that help us. Reaching our dreams is just as physical as it is mental. And sometimes delays can be a blessing, because it allows you to build the self-concept, build the healing that is necessary for this rung on the ladder, for this rung on the ladder, for this step on the journey, for this step on the journey. On Friday the 7th, the moon is in Pisces all day, and it will sextile Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus and trine the Cancer sun. So like I was saying with water energy, we could be feeling a lot. Now it does feel, because Pisces does sextile its ruler, it does feel like there's some good emotions. There's an outpouring of energy and of emotions. And I think it's cool to be a loving person. I think it's cool to be a compassionate person. I think it's cool to be excited about things and to romanticize things, even if it's not cool, even if it's cooler to act like you don't care. I think it's beautiful to care about things, okay? I don't care if it's nerdy or what have you. And I say that because Friday feels like a day in that we're feeling things more intensely, and we can be feeling more inclined to want to pour love, to extend love, to reach out to a friend and be like, I love you. Do you know how valuable you are? Or just feel held by your community or held by people around you. And I just, with all this watery energy, like it's okay to feel. It's okay to be somebody who feels things deeply. I feel like sometimes in this life, it's like a contest around who can care the least. And I always lose that because I care a lot. I care too much. And I think it's beautiful to be around people who are earnest and kind and authentic in how it is that they feel. I just feel like life is too short to act like you don't care about the people that you love. So reach out to friends, extend your gratitude and appreciation to your coworkers, to your team. It's just the energy in which we're wanting to nourish the people in our lives that we hold dear, the people in our lives who feel like home to us. That's the energy of Cancer, because obviously Cancer is a sign that's associated with home, but it's also just the people who feel like home in a human being, the people who make us feel safe and seen. And like I was saying with Mercury square Chiron, people are battling all sorts of things in their lives, and you never know how just that earnest compliment to your barista or going out of your way to extend a compliment to a coworker, you never know what it is that they could have been moving through and what it is that it means to them. So all I want to say is that if you have something kind to say on Friday, say it. Give a random compliment out in the world. That's your homework assignment. Sorry, I'm giving you guys so many homework assignments this week's Magic Monday. Pour love into things. It's cool to care. It's cool to be somebody who is kind-hearted in a world that at many times can feel not so much, right? And many people are navigating their own hurdles. Like, be that beacon of love for individuals. Now, I also want to highlight, while there's some good feelings on Friday, again, there's a loving energy, there's a creative energy. Water energy feels. So you could be feeling things a lot, okay? Water sun answering to a water moon. We're feeling all of the things. We're feeling other people's emotions. So honor your intuition if you do feel called around. I just want to offer Cynthia some help on this project. She looks like she's kind of having a bad day, or I just want to compliment, the person who's working at that deli. Like, honor your intuition, honor your ideas as it relates to the creative project. Like, sometimes we have to get out of our own way around feeling suffocated by what it is that we have created. Like, if you are a creator, a writer, a comedian, a filmmaker, any sort of creative, you know that pressure. And when you are so concerned around, it's got to be a hit, or it's got to, do as good as the past video did, or as the past song did, it kind of kills the creative spark, right? Because you're trying to replicate it, and it becomes this thing that's very metrics driven. And sometimes you have to get out of your own way and just sit down and create what is the most true and raw in accordance to your own experience that it can be. And this energy to just flow. Like, again, it's cool to care. It's cool to be inspired in this life. At least that's my opinion. It might be nerdy to care and to be kind and to be sweet and to be excited about things. Like, I just think with Friday, it's Venus Day. The moon is in a sign that Venus exalts in. Be romanced by life. Find little things that are lovely, that make you excited. If you see somebody's shirt that you like, extend them that compliment. If you see somebody's gram and they're looking great, send heart eyes. Like, you just don't know how that bit of kindness can make someone stay. Also on Friday, great night for a date night because the Pisces moon does sextile Uranus and Taurus. So try a new restaurant, look longingly into one another's eyes. You know, Pisces moon, we definitely can get lost in the dream, lost in romance. So on Saturday, the 8th, so the Pisces moon will trine Mercury in Cancer. So your dreams may have some messages for you. So make sure to pay attention, or you could just be thinking about the past. You know, definitely be careful Friday night. Here's the thing, okay? We had the Venus energy of Venus Day as well as the Pisces moon, which is a sign that Venus exalts in, sextiling Jupiter and Taurus, which is a sign that Venus rules. So is Venus energy. Venus wants to feel good, okay? It wants sensual experiences. Here's the thing, and the Pisces moon likes to feel good drinking, you know, wine or smoke it, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I would just say be cautious on Friday night. And the reason is this. Early Saturday, the Pisces moon trines Mercury in Cancer. So again, it can go from just drinking wine, having fun with my friends, to drunk texting an ex real quick, okay? Or at least thinking, reminiscing about the past, listening to sad songs. It just feels like it could turn. So be cautious if you do indulge in those activities. This is not my endorsement, okay? All I'm saying is when the Pisces moon trines Mercury in Cancer, we could be romanticizing the past, thinking about the past, wanting to reach out to people from our past. Be cautious. And also the Pisces moon will conjoin Neptune Saturday morning. So it gives this otherworldly, not quite here energy. You could be feeling really, really tired. It just kind of is one of those days in which it could be really hard to get out of bed. Things don't totally feel real. You could be sleeping a lot. This could be a really lovely day to meditate, to connect to source, to get involved in nature. But what I've been experiencing, and I'd actually love to hear if anybody recalls, what I've been experiencing is Neptune energy has been making me really sad. So on Saturday, I would just say this could be like a sad energy. And that's what made me want to just add that note about indulgence, because with the Pisces moon conjoining Neptune, there could be an energy around being in your head, around, oh my gosh, what did I say last night? Or having anxiety or something of that nature. Being gentle with yourself. If you don't want to feel those ways, maybe don't indulge as much on Friday. That's my official cosmic caution. And when it comes to Neptune energy, it's not the most structured. So on Saturday, it might be a really aligned time to just ask yourself, what is it that I want right now? Just following your instincts, going with the flow around, you meant to clean on Saturday morning, but you're looking outside and it looks so beautiful. Now you just want to spontaneously go to the beach, right? Sometimes that can be literally source energy speaking to you. Those little instincts, those little desires can be source energy trying to talk to you. So again, listen to yourself, release the notion of how you thought your day was going to be, and sink into the beauty of how it is transpiring currently. Maybe you meant to work on a project, but the Wi-Fi's down. Again, you can kick and scream and be annoyed, or you could just be like, okay, Spirit, let's go with the flow. You could have planned to go to brunch with a friend. She flaked because she was too hungover from the night prior. So you're like, okay, I'll just go to the park and color. Again, see where it is that you can just flow with life rather than forcing against it. And definitely feel the emotions if they come up. We can just be feeling more sensitive, so I would avoid crowds if possible during Neptune energy. We're more sensitive, we're feeling things more intensely. And then the Pisces moon sextiles Pluto and Capricorn, so if there was any lingering sadness, lingering nostalgia, it should subside by this point where it's like remembering our power. Like maybe you had a good cry and then you remember who you are and you keep it moving. But the moon will be void from 11:22 a.m. until it enters Aries at 12:19 p.m. And Aries is courageous, energetic, okay? If you didn't totally remember who it was that you are when the Pisces moon sextiles Pluto, you will remember by 12:19 p.m. Be like, why am I crying in this body, having this life? I need to go out and have some fun, or just do something to remind you what it is that motivates you, what it is that enthuses you about this experience that we call life. Like, I love the very instinctive, raw expression of how Aries goes about life, just being open to the particular challenges and the particular novelty of this particular day, which again can feel like any other Saturday, but around you there are unique blessings and opportunities and challenges awaiting you. So the Aries moon asks you to arise to the challenges. Just do be mindful as the Cancer sun is answering to the Aries moon, Mercury in Cancer is answering to the Aries moon, so we can be more reactive, we can be more impulsive, perhaps with our language. So on Sunday, the 9th, Mercury in Cancer trines Neptune in Pisces. So whereas Mercury sextile Uranus was more so this energy around creating a new pathway of how it is that we talk to ourselves, perhaps a new pathway for how it is that we communicate, right? Generating new ideas. Mercury trine Neptune is more so of a new opportunity to follow our intuition as well as to connect to source in order to communicate our truth. Now for creatives with Mercury trine Neptune, great day to get out of your own way. Stop trying to create what you think is going to eclipse 500,000 SoundCloud viewers and just create what's true to you, right? Listen to muse wherever it is taking you. Perhaps with Mercury in Cancer, you could be romanticizing the past and creating art about it. It's your experiences, and that can be valuable data and valuable inspiration. Use it as such. Could sting a little bit because the Aries moon does conjoin Chiron. So again, revisiting those journals can prompt new interesting ideas for things that you want to create, but it is kind of painful. Like, ouch, whoa, I was really going through it in this entry. Again, I would really encourage, just with the Chiron energy, you have a particular story from your own experiences. What is a viewpoint that you're able to offer because of what it is that you've gone through? Because I'm sure you guys can relate in terms of the content that you consume and the writers who you read and things of that nature, in that when somebody has been through something similar to us, we feel seen by them in a way that others don't see, and it's not their fault, but there's just a particular way of seeing the world after you have gone through something like that, whatever your story is, right? And I want you to sit with, what is the unique viewpoint that I have due to what it is that I have moved through, right? What is something that I can offer that will allow me to be a guiding light for other people who are going through it like I was. Like, I always pose this to my Chiron loves, individuals who have strong Chiron, especially if it is involved somewhat into your midheaven or into your midheaven ruler, is I always say, like, the pain is the pathway. In that oftentimes there can be an embedded ouch or embedded story that creates the pathway around what it is that you feel called to give or to teach or to share. And when it comes to being somebody who is very Chironian, it's really around what got me through that dark night of the soul, or what do I wish would have been there to get me through me struggling with that? Do I wish there would have been small groups around me? Maybe I can make a small group. Do I wish there would have been a YouTube channel of somebody opening up about it? Do I wish that would have been a song on SoundCloud where I could have related? What allowed me to feel seen? What do I wish I would have had to pull me out of that space? And that might not be a message that relates to everybody. Again, that will be for my Chiron loves, because if you are strongly Chironian, you have strong Chiron within your chart, there is something that you're meant to alchemize with your wound, with what it is that you go through. Like a lot of you know, just from my Chiron series that I've done here, my chart is very Chironian. Chiron is opposing my sun, conjoining my moon on my ascendant. I'm very Chironian. And like for me, what got me through the depths of that Chiron was astrology. Like that was what helped me navigate what it was that I was moving through, navigate energies within me, and the astrologers that I got the opportunity to learn from and mentor under and things of that nature. That was the light at the end of the tunnel. That's what got me through. And I remember kind of going into this work around, if I could help one person, then it's worth it, right? Because that's what got me through such a hard time of my life. So again, that was like what got me through, right? Yours might be different. It could be breath work was what got you through. It could have been therapy was what got you through. Like again, contemplate what are some unique experience that I have due to my past, what it is that I've been through. And again, you don't need to relate with your past. You don't live there any longer, but appreciate the spiritual lessons it could have taught you if you are in a space to be able to reframe it as such. With Mercury trine Neptune, we're romanticizing life, and I want you to romanticize life. Life itself, it's pretty mundane or it's pretty magical, depending on how it is that you view it. Make an intention this weekend to see Sunday as magic, seeing it through the lens of magic. I said this with Tuesday as well, seeing it through the lens around, wow, this life that I've made, and I'm safe, and there's water, and I have this person that I love, and I have this connection that I love. thank you. Like Mercury trine Neptune does feel like this gratitude energy, as well as viewing things more magically. Our head can absolutely be in the clouds. This is very much fantasizing. This is very much dreaming about what was and what could be. So my writers, you better write, my screenwriters, even my photographers, we're just seeing the world a little bit more dreamy. I just want you to be conscious. You can romanticize the past without getting stuck there. And I think that's why healers or anybody who does crave creation to get them through their pain, that's what we're after, is alchemy. We want to change it into something else. If we can take that pain and turn it into a song, turn it into a bit, it has transformed itself. That's why I open up about experiences on here, because if I can share something that hurt me and one person is able to glean a little bit of wisdom or a little bit of insight out of it, it lessens the sting. It still hurts, right? Aries moon conjoined Chiron. There can be things on Sunday where it's like, oh, ouch, okay, that still kind of hurts, right? But it's changed forms. It softens it every time that we create. The essence of creating, especially if you're going through it and you know you're creating art to kind of like staunch the blood of what it is that you're moving through, the essence of it is to turn it into something else so that it can hurt you less, right? If you can create a beautiful poem about it, then it wasn't just this heartbreak, it was this heartbreak softened by this lovely poem that you wrote that people were moved by, right? Like art allows us to not feel alone, and it allows us to change our relationship with that wound. So with Mercury trine Neptune, I also just want to encourage Mercury is our mental processes. You need to utilize the mental process that will allow you to navigate this world to the highest of your own potential. Neptune is the energy of make-believe. We talked about this with Delulu week. We were talking about delusion. Sometimes you have to be a little delusional, right? It's a little delusional to put music on SoundCloud and hope that one will blow up, but oftentimes it does. It's a little delusional to set off on our dreams, but that's how we make them happen. Like we have to choose a more delusional pathway, because if we see the world very pragmatically, it could be very mundane, it could be very boring. Sometimes we have to safely and in a grounded fashion encourage little elements of delusion, or at least just being able to choose a mental process that supports us, right? Choosing the mental way of perceiving the world that is the most helpful to our being. I have chosen to see the world through the lens of spirit, because that is what is helpful to me. Yours may look different, but I think with like Mercury sextile Uranus, it's like, okay, how can I reframe experiences in a novel way? And with Mercury trine Neptune, it's like, how can I build a genuine thought process, a genuine script of having faith in myself, of feeling intuitively guided. Like that's what being a spiritual person is so helpful for, is it allows you to feel seen and to feel heard and to feel supported as you navigate through these experiences. So all I want to say with Mercury trine Neptune, feel held, feel supported, do things that allow your brain to feel supported and held, whether it is meditating, creating, what have you. As I highlighted, the Aries moon does conjoin Chiron, so there can be some ouchies on Sunday. Again, some of you may feel called to create art through the ouchies or talk about the ouchies or what have you, but just all in all, pour love into the ouchies, however they come to the surface. And it's also the last quarter moon in Aries. So there can be a call around maybe releasing the ouchies around, okay, I feel the sting of this past relationship, but I'm going to turn it into this beautiful short story. And that's going to take a little bit of that sting away. Or I'm going to be able to tell that story to a friend. And maybe if she can avoid a similar trap, then I've taken such a bad, ugly situation and I've made it something beautiful. I've made it something different. I've alchemized it. When we talk about Chiron, we talk about alchemy. So my loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I nurture the way of perception that supports my becoming. This is very much tied into this week, because oftentimes with those wounded stories, it's not necessarily supporting our becoming. In fact, it can sabotage our becoming, whether it's workaholic tendencies, whether it's procrastination, whether it's imposter syndrome. We have these built-in mechanisms due to where our story, where our pain has taken us, that doesn't necessarily support us to getting to where it is that we want to go. Obviously, it's there as scar tissue around the very wounded part of ourselves, but it's not going to be what will allow us to reach the top of our potential, the top of what success looks like to us. External matched by internal success, right? And sustainable success with all this Capricorn energy. And again, it's not saying you need to be mindful of every every single thought this week and be like, oh, that was a toxic thought. No, it's just don't allow that way of thinking to get in the way of the good things that are coming your way, because you are so worthy. And with this energy around choosing the way of perception that supports your becoming, choose to see yourself as worthy. Choose to see yourself as stardust, because you are. Choose to see yourself as being so held by the universe. Choose to see the world through the lens of synchronicities and magic, like those little things that just make you feel more supported. Going to an audition and seeing 333 on the clock. Again, you could brush it off and be like, oh, it's just the time. Or you could be like, wow, I feel held. Yes, universe, you're cheering me on. Ultimately, the way of perceiving it is up to you. And so this week asks you, how can I really nourish my potential from the inside out? How can I build a pathway where I feel genuinely worthy of good things coming my way? Because I see myself as being a unique combination of signs and houses and aspects that belong to me and to me alone. I'm not shy about my beliefs on here. To me, I feel held and nurtured when I do feel like I believe in something. For me, I call it God. You can call it universe, source energy, what have you. That helps my perception to feel held and to feel nurtured and to feel like I have a purpose. Again, we can argue back and forth on the objective truth of the matter, but we all need to make the decision to frame the world in the way that supports our own becoming, our own potential. That's what helps me. When I don't believe in that, when I've dabbled in like atheism and there's nothing out there, it was not helpful. All I did was spiral. So for me, it helps me to build a connection to universe. It helps me to feel held by source, and it helps me to fulfill my potential because I feel like I have a purpose. So again, it's like rather than allowing the voice in my head, because I have one, you have one, we all have one, that tells me you're worthless, you're nothing, I choose to tap into that higher self that tells me you are on your path, you are learning, you are fulfilling your purpose, you are helping people's lives, or whatever it is that you are building at this current iteration. Choose the frequency. You know, I'm getting a vision of like a radio station. Choose the station that's going to support you. You can brush by the Chiron station and be like, ooh, yikes, ow, whoa, that's not very nice. I'm not being very nice to myself. Go to a different station. Tune into Mercury, trine, Neptune. That tells you you're on your path. Nurture your becoming. Honor the signs and synchronicities that are taking place within this step in your journey. Choose the station and the frequency that benefits your becoming, because you are so worthy of all of the good things, my love. So that is our week. I would love to hear, what are you looking forward to within this week's astrology? What have been some transits that have been super pivotal? I would love to hear. If you could comment below the little radio emoji. I've been loving doing this little emoji game. Again, if you're on desktop, you could just put radio into a sentence. That'll be your fun little writing prompt. I don't know why I gave you guys so much homework in this Magic Monday. I want to thank you all for being so patient with me in regards to July's content kind of being up in the air. I'm so grateful that I have a community that is, honoring of me and what it is that I need. And if I'm feeling inspired and I'm feeling like I'm creating good content that I feel is worthy of your time, I will make sure to post it. I just don't want to make any rigid promises, because I'm just moving through some transits where it's like every single day, every single hour feels very different. Can you let me know, are these videos getting too long? Can you believe Magic Monday used to be 10 minutes? This used to be 10 minutes on Instagram. Can you believe? Now I'm lucky if I can edit it down to an hour and a half. Last week, I had to go through 4 hours of talking, and I know I talk a lot. I just have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. Anyways, I'm sending you all so much love. Happy Capricorn Full Moon. And until we meet again, drink lots of water. Stay